Yo, booting right into it today. Let's see. All right. We're back. Round 2. Elon postponed the morning talk to after Starbase or after Starship announcement. And we're back. There we go. Let's see. Sorry. Just jumping right into it, getting it going. Go. All right. So we got Starship launch 9. I believe. No, that's Falcon 9. Yeah, 9th. Yeah, Starship's 9th test. This is also the first launch that they've actually reused the booster. That's their ultimate goal, just like they do with Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. They want to be able to reuse all the boosters so that they could just kind of land it, refuel it, and then take right back off. So that's part of the reason why before they've been catching it and everything. So I don't know if they're doing a catch today.
People that are building the
I wouldn't be surprised if they're not. But they are doing several other testing. Last flight, they lost their second stage to like actual kind of like space plane part, the payload part. They lost it, and they had to get FAA approval before this next launch, and they kind of just got it. So hopefully it all goes well and actually you're successful this time. And then afterwards, Elon Musk will be giving a talk about multiplanetary colonization, or what I've put in my title, Interplanetary Colonialism. So it was supposed to happen this morning, but he postponed, unfortunately. So we're back. So let's listen in here. Launches in a few minutes, 6 minutes.
Do its thing to.
What else?
Critical in space.
Why else is this important?
Maneuvers and operations that will be vital for the program's continued operation. So Dan and Jesse, we can't wait for liftoff. Let's have a good flight today.
Thanks, Chris.
They've also been building many more launch pads, as you can see in the background. This is 2 launch pads there, and they're just going to keep building these. I mean, if you kind of think about in like movies, I think Ad Astra is a good example where they kind of come over into the valley and there's just a bunch of rockets that are ready to launch. Once we have more of a space economy, then there's more reason to continue to launch rockets. And also as prices go down, we'll be able to launch more. But just kind of a bunch of sites like this is kind of going to be the future, especially if we're going to get faster cadence. So SpaceX is continuing to build that out. They're building NASA Spaceflight has a great video, but they're continuing to build in other parts too, not just in this Starbase, Texas. Or not Abilene, that's where Boca Chica, right? That's what this is. Abilene is where the first Starbase, or no, Project Stargate. Holy shit, bro. There's so many different star names in AI space. Like, Jesus, I'm getting all mixed up. Yeah, that's Sam Altman's venture, Stargate, data center. Wrong domain.
now,
But,
if
yeah.
we do need to hold, that can come at T-minus 40 seconds.
All right, T-minus 40
built
seconds.
into the countdown where we can pause to wait for any final checkouts, pressurizations, anything that we need to complete. We can hold there. We will only hold there if we're tracking an issue. We're not currently tracking anything that will hold us at T-minus 40 seconds. But if you've seen a Starship launch before,
internal
have held
power, and then
before.
after that, the quick disconnect or
It is
QD.
kinda loud.
Arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction just shortly after T-0. And once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we do still have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds, and then hold there to assess what happened and see if we can proceed again back down to T0.
Yeah,
I really
there
want
are
to
a
let you
couple
know
of
that there are other
things,
chances.
kind of gates in that timeline that if we pass through that and we hit a hold, we'd have to scrub for the day.
Also, there's a lot of people watching. I don't understand how the views count on X is horrible. It's literally just like someone like scrolls past it. That's a view. But there's almost 750K.
At that point, need to refill all of the propellant tanks. Is 11 million pounds of propellant. It's a whole lot. We can typically do that in about 24 hours, so we can always turn around to try again tomorrow. But we are coming up on 3 minutes away.
Hopefully if they postpone, Elon Musk is still giving the goddamn speech. Not going to postpone again.
Closed out of prop load on the ship at this point. Booster coming up shortly.
And wow, the weather just looks amazing there with Starship on the launch.
Good views. Good views. Earlier on stream, we were actually watching... kind of watched something more about the past. Because Elon Musk has given other talks and presentations or whatever about the kind of like his multi-planetary plan or whatever he calls it. One big requirement still that Starship needs to prove, not only to get to the moon, just to get, out of orbit, is refueling in space. That's one problem that they still have to figure out. We kind of, when watching a recap of a past one, that was, a big talking point, and I think that's very relevant now. As we were talking about it, and I'm sure I'm curious what he's going to talk about in the actual later stages. I guarantee you it's going to be about picking up pace with Starship launch. Like, they're going to probably start launching more as they're scaling out, and they're getting more of a better platform that allows them to that allows more reliability, and allows you to start reusing things. So like, this is a reuse, so it's like if you don't have to build a new rocket every single time from scratch, like, you're able to just start launching, which is, Falcon 9's cadence is like I swear it's like several a week. Like, they've done so many launches. So yeah. All right, let's listen
through
in.
Those issues and see if it's something that we need to stand down for.
Oh,
and
did
as
we miss?
Dan mentioned, we will be holding at T-minus 40 seconds, so in about 20 seconds from now.
All right. Already
so
a hold.
We'll hold there, and they'll work through these final checkouts on, sounds like just one of those Raptors on the first stage on Super Heavy, which, as you said, we're reflying it for the first time. 29 of those 33 engines have already been used in a launch, one of which has already launched
Twice, and
twice,
we'll go for
and
its
is getting ready for its
third
third. All right,
time.
and you just heard
Wow.
our flight director for the day, Joe Sliker. He just shared that we are going to hold at this T-minus 40 second mark. Keep an eye on one of those Raptor engines on booster.
Any commentary? Not during my usual stream hours. Not all my. I do have notification silenced on.
If you're just now jumping in, we are holding still at T-minus 40 seconds. Watching one engine, waiting for temperatures to kind of get to a zone that we want them to on one of the engines on the booster, on the Super Heavy booster, getting ready.
Wonder how long they could hold
for its second ever flight. We'll just continue to hold. Again, we can hang out here for several minutes.
Okay.
We held for a while on the first attempt last time, and then cleared it, and then we triggered a different issue on the ground side.
But again, this is exactly what it's for. This gives us the best chances at success.
And the clock is rolling.
There we go.
All right.
30 seconds. It's going to be so loud. I'm just going to
T-minus
pre-turn it
30.
down.
Let's listen in. Watch that first flight proven super heavy. Get ready to take off from Starbase.
I don't understand how they have such a solid foothold on land with like all of this like marsh around them. I always think about that. Like one day is it just going to like wash away? I joke. They definitely have engineers looked at that. Come on. Up. Hold.
Hit hold.
We did have
Oh,
a
come
hold,
on.
and looks like the clock jumped back to T-minus 40 seconds.
All right, so yep, we jumped out. I did not see the deflector go off. So hopefully we were right at around that T-minus 10-second mark.
Wondering with the
And if we were
deflector.
before that T-minus 10-second mark, we do have the ability to recycle, as we mentioned earlier, back to T-minus 40 seconds.
So it looked like this time it was a ground side issue. We're taking a look at this real quick. So again, we're back at T-minus 40. We're gonna hold for a little bit.
Hey. We're like seesawing.
We are still not scrubbed for the day. Give them a couple of minutes to work through this. Again, we can hang out at T-minus 40 for several minutes. Eventually, we start looking at your bulk temperatures and all of your propellant on board the vehicle.
Mm.
We're not actively replenishing the propellant on board Super Heavy and Starship. And so you don't have essentially
It's so
forever
cold,
to hang
though.
out before things start to warm up. And you do want to make sure
Yeah.
your temperature's in a really stable range for a healthy startup on Raptor engines. So they're going to work through this issue. We can
Like I always wonder, like when they are holding it like this, like what are they doing behind the scenes? Like are they like like just looking at sensors? Are they like doing like checking boxes or like flipping switches like to actually do things on the rocket? Like are they just like waiting for the computer to figure it out itself? Like it's always like, oh, we're holding and we're like I wonder what they're doing or how do you actually fix these issues? Also, I'm just
Again, this is a ground side issue on our tower. The techs are looking through the data right now to see if it's something that we can either work through.
all right. Just looking at other Elon Musk news, looks like Neuralink raised $600 million. Elon Musk's brain chip venture, which we actually looked at a competitor a few weeks or last week on stream or something. $9 billion valuation, which is insane considering they've pretty much not done much besides R&D. Yeah, the value of Musk companies have soared over the last 4 years through Neuralink. Though Neuralink remains one of the smaller parts of his empire, SpaceX raised money at $180 billion valuation in August. And I was just gonna say, but it was valued on the secondary market at $350 billion. Yep, by December 2024. SpaceX is arguably, which crazy to think about. This is, I don't know what OpenAI's valuation is, but it's something like this. And it's crazy to think that OpenAI is valued at the same cost as arguably national critical infrastructure, i.e. SpaceX. Like, launching things, actually solving problems. Not that AI isn't, but it's not yet. According to PitchBook data, his new venture XAI was worth $80 billion when it merged with X to create a combined value company worth $813 billion. Although this is some financial engineering at its finest, so I don't know about that. Want to listen in, see if there's anything more?
All right, so we are getting to a resolution. We're going to reset everything.
All right. Still going through. That's it.
All right, so we're going to see the clock. It is now rolling.
All right.
Here we go.
We saw an issue with that quick disconnect to the ship. There
Like
is
they
a
have like a
chance that
clap
automation
button
will kick us
sound
out
on the
again
soundboard.
if we encounter the same issue. But for now, the clock is rolling.
Seems like we
We'll
gotta
see if we pass around that T-minus 10 second
yeah.
mark.
The 10-second mark, it's harder to reset, it seems like. All right, here we go. Yep. All right, water jets are on. It's so loud already. This is such a cool view, though. Here it goes, bro. This shit's so big. So big. It takes off so slow, too. What is this sound? Almost sounds like it's...
Plus 40 seconds, it's one hell of a sight from here. We see it arcing right over top of us. We see 33 out of 33 Raptor engines lit on Super Heavy as it starts to ascend skyward. Coming up on maximum aerodynamic pressure, then only about a minute and a half until we get into hot staging.
XQ, where it undergoes the most atmospheric pressure.
Wow, Dan, that was incredible.
Dynamic pressure, sorry. Here that thing goes,
we
bro.
Can feel the building shaking
like
here.
a big
feel
missile.
The vehicle's power. Now we're just about a minute away from shutting down those engines on the booster. Again, this booster is flying for its second time today.
Start seeing. Yeah, this is also crazy that is the second time the booster's been used.
Coming up, a little under a minute.
Look at that. You can see the Earth curvature of the
We're
Earth
going to see all but the 3 center engines turn off on the booster. So our version of Miko, most engines cut off. And then just a few seconds later, hoping to see 6 engines ignite on ship.
Oh, they have like a little meter for the fuel, looks like now. That's cool. Including all the engines lit, but they've had that.
Staging about 30 seconds.
All right. Oh, they are landing the booster. Hell yeah. They're landing the second stage in the ocean, and they're doing tests with it.
Which way the booster flips. First ever directional flip we're going for today. Should flip straight up. As
you kind of get, you know, around the Earth, you kind of have to start tilting, so you start making the actual rotation. You're not just going to escape the Earth's gravitational pull.
Stage separation.
All right. Whoa, look at it. Clean view that time.
Flip by Super Heavy booster, and you can see those 6 engines, those 3 engines on the ship ignited.
6 healthy Raptors running on ship on its
Bro,
way
you can see it back there. That's so cool. It's such a good view.
Booster doing the boost back. Chris, how's it looking over there in Hawthorne, man?
It is looking
chamber pressure is nominal.
It is looking absolutely incredible here in Hawthorne. As we said, 6 healthy engines on ship. We've got 13 out of 13 engines on the booster. Now down to those 3, which is what we expect in the final moments of the boost back burn. Now, as a reminder, we are not recovering the Super Heavy booster today. We are instead going to do some...
shutdown.
Okay.
There we had a good shutdown of the boost back burn. Next up will be the jettison of that hot stage ring.
Avionics, power, and telemetry nominal.
Oh, you can see. Look at that.
Great call out there that everything looking nominal aboard the Super Heavy vehicle, which is returning to Earth, and we're going to be doing some experiments with it, including a higher angle of attack re-entry. As well as some engine tests as it gets closer to the Gulf. We are, again, because of these tests not recovering it, we are sending it to the Gulf on purpose to do those tests. But again, you see the booster on the left-hand side of your screen. You see ship with 6 healthy engines continuing its ascent to its planned suborbital trajectory. Everything going very well so far for Starship's 9th flight. Now 4 minutes, 15 seconds in. great views from inside of the aft engine area of ship there, looking at those 3 sea level and 3 Raptor engines on the right-hand side of your screen. The booster doing its LOX dump, that liquid oxygen dump. So because we don't need some of that liquid
the
oxygen
ring is still like
propellant
right
in
there.
its
It's
tanks,
so weird.
we vent that propellant out to
It's like
lessen the
falling with
booster's
it.
mass as it comes in for its landing. Just absolutely gorgeous views watching these 2 vehicles do their respective things in the skies over Texas here today. And Dan, we're approaching the 5-minute mark into the flight. Super Heavy is descending rapidly. What can we expect here in the next few minutes as it does its atmospheric tests?
Yeah, now as we had talked about, Super Heavy might not have a very smooth ride down. We're going to be putting it through this higher angle of attack.
I want to see like
we're kind of pitching it up a tiny bit, increasing drag.
If it does,
we've done this in wind tunnels. We've done this in computer modeling. It shows that sometimes the control isn't great, but only one way to really prove it out, and that's to get real world data. So here comes Super Heavy. It should be igniting for its landing burn in just about 40 seconds from now.
And we are going to relight 13 engines, then bring that down to 3 engines. As we talked about earlier, we will be intentionally shutting down. We will be shutting down one of those 3 center engines intentionally to push the limits of the Super Heavy booster.
Raptor chamber pressures now.
Looking at the engines, are they gonna light up?
And continuing to see 6 healthy engines on the ship. 3 sea level and 3 vacuum engines still ignited as the Super Heavy booster is making its way back down to Earth.
We can see those grid fins doing some heavy work.
Booster landing startup.
Oh, looks like, is that on purpose?
For our landing burn.
I would say better view. Ah, dang it.
It may have ended with that landing burn.
It's exploded.
Does look like we lost telemetry from the booster once we started into that landing burn.
Dang.
Did you hear confirmation that the booster did demise?
Did demise? What fucking...
So the booster's flight ending...
What fucking corporate, you know, like, terminology? It's like, the rocket came to its demise. Like, it exploded. It blew up. It doesn't exist anymore. It got destroyed.
High angle of attack flight, so that was something that was...
All right, that was it. I mean, that was just like...
Get during this reuse.
Dang, I wonder if they even got any data then on that.
All right, ship.
Maybe, I guess they...
2 minutes left.
The angle of attack, they said, was different, so hopefully that is what they got the data
all
on.
6 Raptor engines to shut down. That will be SECO. Basically second engine or second stage engine shut off. And these are some incredible views, Dan, from the aft end of the ship. Watching as the engines stay ignited with the Earth in the background.
As always, the Starship avionics team, the techs. I think we just heard the booster. But all right, we got about a minute left into this burn. All eyes definitely on ship as we get through the final stages.
This is a long
its
burn.
ascent. We're expecting it to start to cut those engines off in about 45 seconds.
Terminal guidance.
When is Elon Musk talking?
All right, just about 30 seconds to go. We're in terminal guidance in the final stages of this ascent burn.
Oh.
We did see shutdown of the Raptor engines. We do stagger these, so we do the Raptors first. Those 3 have shut down successfully. Sea level's still running.
Ship engine cut off.
Dang. The cutoff sequence is crazy. Like, so much shit comes out still. Or is that something else? Is that like RCS or something?
Ship engine
Nominal
cutoff,
insertion.
the 3 most beautiful words in the English language.
And great call out that we had nominal insertion.
So they're calling it ship engine cutoff? Whoa, what was that? You see that? Like all kinds of debris flying out. Uh-oh. Is it spinning?
An incredible flight test so far today.
Ooh, is that good or bad?
We reflew a super heavy booster for the very first time in 9 test flights.
Bro, look at all the debris flying off of that. That's crazy. I mean, it might be, well, if these are the heat shields, then I think it's supposed to be like that. No, it's ice.
But it ignited
Ship F-gas is saved.
It ignited all 6 of its engines and made it all the way through.
That's crazy. Look at that
just now.
Ice. Yeah, I wonder if this is venting or if it's like some sort of stabilizer here. I feel like it's spinning out of control.
What a moment. Wow.
Incredible.
All right, but I mean, that's... Ooh, still lots to come for the rest of this flight.
Ooh, maybe not.
Per usual, I need to collect myself. Hey, Chris, how's it going over there?
Wait, what is the big deal? The engines got cut off?
I think the elation and the excitement and the happiness at what we just saw achieved carried through across all of our sites. What
I think though this is
you to see Starship back orbiting the Earth just under 11 minutes into our mission. Absolutely exciting to see all of this.
I think this might be where they lost it last time.
All of the team's hard work in action here today. As guaranteed, it has been an exciting evening so far for Starship's 9th test flight. We lifted off a little bit after 6:30 p.m. after a couple of holds that were triggered at the T-minus 40-second mark, but we were able to clear those, one on the Raptor, one on
looks like
the
water,
tower,
maybe?
and we were able to lift off successfully from
What is going
Starbase.
on?
33 out of 33 Raptor engines lit on the Super Heavy, all 6 engines lit on Ship, bringing it to its planned suborbital trajectory around Earth. But as Dan said, we've got a lot still coming up in our flight sequence. So coming up at about T plus 18 minutes, 26 seconds, we'll have the first deployment of simulated Starlink satellites planned from Starship.
That's cool.
That will be followed at about T plus 37 minutes and 49 seconds by the relight of a single Raptor sea level engine in space. This is going to help us gather data on our ability to do a deorbit burn for future Starship missions that will go orbital. And then, of course, one of the biggest tests yet to come is the new heat shield modifications to Starship. And that'll start with re-entry into Earth's atmosphere at about the T plus 45 minute mark, which should take about 16, 18 minutes to complete. And now today's re-entry is going to test that heat shield like we said. Specifically, how Starship will hold up to 100 missing heat shield tiles on its thermal protection system. Now, we purposely took those 100 tiles off over very critical areas of the vehicle to be able to safely test on a flight like this suborbital trajectory into the Indian Ocean what might happen on an operational flight in those areas if we were to lose the primary heat shield tile over Starship. So very critical test coming up. And then after that, we'll have the final descent where we will again be pushing Starship to its limits. We definitely pushed the booster to its limits today to gather data, and we're going to be doing the exact same thing on that ship, seeing how the ship handles various flight conditions that we will need it to fly in as we look to one day soon bring ships back to Starbase for catch and reuse. Now, while there are payload simulators on Starship for deployment today, as we will see in a few minutes, the primary data and the primary payload for today is the data. And today, just like with Starship's previous test flights, that data is coming to us courtesy of our Starlink network. In fact, it is from Starlink that you are seeing these wonderful views of Ship in space right now.
That's cool.
And I can't wait to see Starlink really provide those epic views and that data transmission during reentry, which is very, very critical to getting that data during reentry. So, Dan and Jesse, it's been an exciting day so far. There's more to come as we get ready for Starship's first ever payload deploy. What can we expect next here in the next few minutes?
Thanks, Chris. Just going to reiterate, thank you to the Starlink team for these incredible views today. In a few minutes, Starship will deploy 8 Starlink simulators, similar in size to our next-generation Starlink satellites. The Starlink simulators will be on the same suborbital trajectory as Starship, meaning they will passively re-enter the atmosphere, just like Starship. With tests like these, we can see how Starship's payload deploy systems work in flight while ensuring that this simulator satellites pose no safety risk to people on Earth or for other satellites in orbit. Now, this also ensures that any parts of these simulator Starlink satellites that do survive re-entry splash down harmlessly in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
And then before we get there, though, we're going to have to open up that payload deploy door. So we've only ever done that one time before.
I don't know what that
Pretty
looks
sure
like.
It was Flight 3. Someone on the internet, please check me. But that was the only time we ever opened it. And we've had Starlink simulators on the last 2 flights, but we haven't gotten to this moment yet where we're able to open up the payload door and start deploying these. It's going to be pretty cool. We've got them stacked inside of the Starship payload bay, and we'll have potentially a couple of views. You saw one camera pop up. Oh, there we go. Look inside
that's cool.
of the payload bay.
That's
of
so
Starship.
cool.
You can see them stacked down in the middle of your view. There's kind of 4 on either side, so they're sandwiched on top of each other, a stack of 4 right behind each other. And then we're going to pop the door open. It's on the right side of your screen, so we'll see that open up and then start firing those Starlink simulators out into space.
We are expecting the payload door to open in a little over a minute from now. And then once that payload door is open, about a couple minutes later is when we will start dispensing those Starlink simulators.
That's
what a great
right
view.
at the bottom of the stack. So should be able to see them kind of firing out from right there. So really cool.
It looks so complicated.
These
like there's so much stuff in there.
The
like
next
levers
generation
and
of Starlink
latches.
satellite into space, and those are going to enable some truly insane things in terms of speeds from space and what we're able to do. Starlink's been really great for Starship, obviously. Getting live video back is really cool, but just the amount of high-speed telemetry, everything we're able to get back is insane. And for a development program, that's kind of everything. We're in excess of 130 or 160. My numbers are fuzzy right now, just like my brain is. But
sorry.
Well in excess of 100 megabits per second of downlink, and a lot of that gets eaten up by video. We've got dozens of cameras across Starship. We added several more. For this flight, you saw a couple of those as we have essentially 300.
What is happening?
160 degrees. Oh. Open the pod.
Same. All right, we're back.
Now we are expecting the payload door to open any moment now.
Is this the payload door?
So we're watching out for that. Again, you're looking at the inside of Starship as it's suborbital.
Well, we heard the door open was in progress. It was unable to actuate all the way open, so they are going to close it back up. Hal told me
we didn't even get to see anything.
Said, I'm
with
sorry,
the door.
Dan. Can't do that. Looks like we won't get the door open today.
Dang.
But that's okay. This is obviously a test we want to be able to do before we're deploying full-on Starlinks. But the real focus for this, now that we are in space, is getting to that reentry. That is the most critical phase of Starship that we still have to prove out.
Ooh.
All right, well, so it does look like we're not going to be able to deploy Starlinks today, but we should have pretty frequent views from Starship. They might cut in and out every once in a while, but should be pretty regular. We are in darkness right now, so might be a lot of black, but the cool part is when we get to reentry, it's going to be daytime.
Yes, and we did that on purpose so that we can get some live daytime views
They're all waiting
as
in the background.
ship is
You
returning.
can see
back
where
to
they
Earth.
actually are. They're
All
like
right, so
just over
we are going to take a break.
north of South
Enjoy
America.
these views as we get them. Enjoy the tunes. We'll be back in a couple of minutes when we get ready to relight one of those Raptor engines.
Why just
on
keep
orbit.
pausing
See you
like
soon.
this? All right. While we're waiting, we're gonna watch some videos about Elon Musk's previous Mars colony presentation. And I have some other space videos we can watch too. Also, NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. I forgot, bro. So we might watch a video on that. So this is 8 years ago. This is 2016, which seemed like the last time. I'll move this back if there's any. I wish there was chat. That'd be so cancer, actually. Back in 2018 or 2016, Elon Musk, talked about going to Mars. Hang on, gotta get chat situated. Too many tabs. Bring this into this one. All right. Yeah, 2016. Nope. This was 2017. This is actually a different video. This was 2016. Okay, yeah. So let's watch this. Bloomberg. Elon Musk's vision for affordable space travel to Mars. Now, I'm curious because this is in the past, and so a lot of stuff has kind of already been in motion or has happened. I guess, and so we're kind of looking at Starship, or at least maybe the future version of it. So let's see.
The best way to optimize the cost per unit mass to Mars and back is
So
to use a
quiet.
methane system, or technically deep cryometallurgics. So those are the four elements that need to be achieved. Whatever architecture, whatever system is designed,
Where's the
whether by
volume boost?
SpaceX or anyone, we think these are the four features that need to be addressed in order for
Fuel reusability, full reusability, refueling in orbit. That was my call at the beginning. This is still to be figured out. Propellant production on Mars. We got a while in the right propellant. I imagine the propellant. Yeah, let's watch.
system to
The current they're using. I'm pretty sure they're using liquid oxygen blocks, some sort of gas. I mean, obviously gas, but I guess is the propellant that they're using now the one that could be produced on Mars? And I wonder if this still has to be a goal especially if we want to return that isn't requiring sending several rockets, several of just fuel, assuming that it'll even not evaporate by the time it gets there. And it even gets there, and then refueling there just to come back, like, no way.
to really achieve a low cost per ton to the surface of Mars. And this is a simulation of the overall system.
This one also seems a lot bigger than Starship. Could be wrong on that. Keep her that low. I mean, if we look, see, it looks like Is this how they're planning on landing the first stage? Or second stage? Like, it has legs. The current one does have legs, I'm pretty sure. This looks like also, I wonder if they specifically added this. Because, oh, this was, I feel like a while ago they were kind of, weren't they making these like giant carbon fiber like circle or spheres or something that they were going to use for like fuel in the Starship, and then they're like, oh no, actually we're using stainless steel, and then they kind of like swapped. Is that what this thing is? This is as far as they've gotten, pretty much. Spaceship hits the parking orbit. Interesting. Okay, yeah, booster heads back to Earth. Alright, got it. It's crazy that they've done this. They didn't do it today, but they've done this. The rocket they're using, the booster they're using, has already come down and land like this. Although that's interesting that they envision this is different. I know this is just to kind of show what they're doing, but this is different than what they do now. Now they kind of have the chopstick arms coming out of here, and then they catch it. Which they have this one actually land flat. This is still similar because the chopsticks now are the crane, and so that is what they're using. Like this tower, so that's still the same. And refuel. The engine layout's different, although I'm not sure how that much matters. I guess they actually may change it maybe for more like planetary missions. Different like 200 kilowatts. That it's crazy because that doesn't even seem like that much. Coasting at 60,000 miles an hour. This is what they're testing today with landing and the heat shield. They want to test the heat shield coming in. They are going to have legs if they want to land on Mars, though. Oh, is this us like calling like terraforming Mars? What, didn't he have a plan to like have a planetary starship that was just gonna go from like continent to continent and like move like payloads like a airplane. This 2016 was such a crazy time. Like, I mean, like looking back, I guess it was such a Elon Musk was so different then, I guess is the point. Like he was still kind of like that like cool billionaire sci-fi guy who wants to like, you know, like Iron Man, you know, he was an Iron Man and like all this kind of stuff. He was like still like kind of riding that wave.
So what you saw there is really quite close to what we will actually build. It will look almost exactly what you saw, like what you saw. So this is not an artist's impression. These the simulation was actually made from the SpaceX engineering CAD models. So this is not, you know, it's not just, well, this is what it might,
the Starship does look pretty close, I will
look
say.
like. This is what we plan to try to make it look like. So in the video, you got a sense for what the system architecture looks like. The rocket booster and the spaceship take off, loads the spaceship into orbit.
This is still the same
The rocket booster then comes back. It comes back quite quickly within...
Targeted reuse per vehicle, 1,000 uses per booster, 100 per tanker, 12 per ship. 1,000 uses per booster is insane.
About 20 minutes. And so it can actually...
But this is likely needed for just the economics of scale.
Launch the tanker version of the spacecraft, which is essentially the same as the spaceship, but filling...
Oh, sorry, I'm such a bad streamer. I don't even, like, my chat's behind like 9 windows. People still respect him, yeah. Yeah, this is there's a
bit of a spin. We did spring up.
We were watching the Starship launch. They lost the They lost their booster, and it looks like they're testing something with the first stage. And it looks like it might be spinning out of control.
Re-entry. We are suborbital, so no matter what, we are going to enter. However, this lowers the chances for it to be a controlled re-entry. So if you think back to Flight 3, when we had something similar happen, just the end symptom of a loss of attitude control, we were in a roll by the time we hit re-entry. So we are going to re-enter. We should hopefully still have views.
But Elon Musk is giving a talk, his next like colonization talk after this.
On the vehicle, and they're pretty robust to maintaining contact even when we are in a spin, essentially. So we should hopefully continue to keep live views. It's going to still be dark until we get a little bit closer to entry, as we are a little bit, we're coming up on Africa. I believe we do swing just to the south of that continent. And by the time we start heading out over the Indian Ocean, we'll start heading into a sunrise. So not looking great with a lot of our on-orbit objectives for today, where we were hoping to do the PEZ deploy and relight an engine, and then really importantly get into that controlled entry to really put the heat shield through the ringer. Nonetheless, Starship marching forward towards that re-entry over the Indian Ocean, so we'll continue to hang with it and give you any updates as things continue to change.
All right. Check in. Yeah, we're watching this, and then, yeah, after Elon Musk is giving his planetary colonization talk or something.
Up
Whoops. Windows. Grab this, put it over here. Got chat up finally. Jeez. All right. So this is his last one we're watching now.
Unpressurized and pressurized cargo areas with propellant tanks. So they look almost identical. So this also helps lower the development cost, which obviously will not be small. And then the propellant tanker goes up, and it'll go up multiple times, so anywhere from 3 to 5 times to fill the tanks of the spaceship in orbit.
By the way, this needs to happen if even to go to the moon right now. Smarter Every Day had a video where he gave a talk in front of space people about kind of like saying the quiet part out loud, where it's like, how many launches is it going to take for us to go to the moon? Like, as in, like, how many rockets we have to launch to get one human to the moon? And it's going to be a lot. And I think in the video he was like, he kind of insinuates that like they actually don't even know how many, and it's going to be like 10 plus. So like we need at least, we're going to have to launch at least 10 of these before we even go to the moon. He's talking about like 5 launches just to refuel to go to Mars. Like, bro, I actually wonder what that's going to be like how many it's going to actually be now.
And then once the spaceship the tanks are full, the cargo has been transferred, and we reach the Mars rendezvous timing, which, as mentioned, is roughly every 26 months. That's when the ship would depart. Now, over time, there would be many spaceships. You'd ultimately have, I think, upwards of 1,000 or more spaceships waiting in orbit. And so the Mars colonial fleet...
1,000 or more waiting in orbit. Is there even enough space for that? Like, we'd have to go pretty far out from orbit, I feel like, to like really have enough space to even have that many ships just kind of floating. I guess there is a lot of space up there, but you know, and if we're talking, you know, like in the next 5 years, there's gonna be I guess this is more so low Earth orbit is very crowded, but space is just gonna continue to get more and more crowded. Especially someone like China is ramping up, launching more and more rockets, just like we are in SpaceX. They're gonna have their own constellation, their internet constellations. I wouldn't be surprised if they even have their own kind of GPS style satellite. You know, I guess like my point is, like, as other countries develop their space program and get more and more mature, they're gonna want the same affordances and like satellite capabilities that a country that is further along in its space development, like the United States, has. I guess I'm mainly really talking about China. Maybe Russia, because they do have a space presence, although I think Russia is going to slowly just get pushed out of the world order, world power, if they already are. Side tangent, but so I don't know. Having that many space, that's going to be interesting. We are going to genuinely have designated like parking orbits. Then, you know, we're going to have like large spaceships, or large. I wonder if there's gonna be structures that could, like, you know, maybe you could like put your ship in to keep them all together. You know, like essentially like a space station that's just a parking lot. I guess just a station in general, not even like, you know, space that you're able to, you know, hook onto. Although I do see problems with these very large space objects. I'm thinking of like Star Cloud, even the bigger and bigger space stations, about space debris. Like, how are we going to protect from that? Because the larger the thing is, it's going to act like a sail, and it's almost like a sail as in like it's just a very wide thing that could catch things like wind. But in space, like, how do we protect from that? Yeah, like the space debris talk has been happening forever. Maybe the space debris talk is like the AI safety bros. You know, it's like they're like they're probably right, but like no one really like wants to think about that right now because it's cool, you know, because the thing's cool. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but I guess I see that there needs to be potentially other problems solved besides just this, like the politics of space, like zoning. Are we gonna have like zoning laws in space? I guess we kind of are with like low Earth orbit. Like geospatial orbit, like the types of orbit, maybe that it'll be like the orbit types, it'll be like the kind of top level, at least around Earth, and then kind of going down, it'll be like zoned. Like maybe like low Earth orbit is like the slums, and like you can't even live there permanently because you're just gonna slowly more and more like get closer and closer down to the down to the atmosphere. So it's like the slums, and like you don't even survive maybe. That's an interesting concept. That could be like a what's his name? Like the Parasite director? Like that's some Parasite director shit. Like you're born on a space station that has a limited time and you can't afford to get off, and there's no government to really pay for you there, and so you're just kind of stuck deorbiting, which will eventually be your demise unless you could afford to get off or someone kind of gives you a ride. Maybe there's government, there's like a space welfare. Like there's good, like, you know, there's gonna be like affordable housing in space. Like where they're living would be the affordable housing, let's be real. Especially if we do get to a point where like it's like life or death, like in space. Like, bro, we have the wealth inequality is probably insane. Yes. Anyways,
Depart en masse.
That was such a side tangent.
They're kind of like Battlestar Galactica. You've seen that thing. That's a good show. So a bit like that. But it actually makes sense to load the spaceships into orbit because you've got 2 years to do so, and then make frequent use of the booster and the tanker to get really heavy reuse out of those. And then with the spaceship, you get less reuse because you have to say, well, how long is it going to last? Well, maybe 30 years. So that might be 12 to maybe 15 flights of the spaceship at most. So you really want to maximize the cargo of the spaceship and reuse the booster and the tanker a lot. So anyways, the ship goes.
This video was so bad. Like the recap was horrible. All right, we're back here. This view is insane. It looks like it's like sped up, but it's just literally that's just what it looks like. This view is crazy though. Like I don't quite get what's happening. It said they were suborbital. Also, this music is kind of good. Okay, so this is a different video. Tech Insider. Is this channel still, like, is this, bro, this Insider had so many videos. No, they don't. Okay. Dang, I can't believe they just abandoned this channel. 4.2 million subscribers. Like, I guess it was kind of, what is this channel? It's everywhere. How to make a saddle in Minecraft using data packs. How to add emojis on Discord. Anyways. Oh, that's why.
To be crude
okay, there we go.
and to.
Because it's like one of those like no talking channels. Oh yeah, here we go. This is what I was talking about. Bro, what? First, SpaceX plans to send 2 cargo ships to Mars in 2022. Checks date. Bro, we don't have the rocket yet. The rocket's not even ready. Holy shit, bro. That timeline they have was not even close. By 2024, we'll land 2 cargo ships plus 2 crew. So they expect to have 6 ships on Mars by 2024. 6 ships, 6 starships on Mars. Bro, that is, like, I mean, like, no offense, like, I mean, actually, offense, but Elon Musk is horrible at forecasting. Like, the whole robotaxi thing, too, like, this is, yeah. All right, looks like the Starship crashing out
happened, but we do clear a tremendous amount of space out in the Indian Ocean in the event that we run into this. We understand that there are always risks. Sent these flight tests with the hardware, but we don't really accept any compromise when it comes to protecting people.
And it is one thing to note is we will actually still re-enter in our planned airspace zone, which is good. That is exactly what we planned for. You know, we do plan for if something does go a little bit off nominal, that we have enough airspace cleared out for situations just like this.
Yeah, re-entry is still just that really critical phase that we
I think that I'm registering
much information as possible.
a new
Fully reusable heat shield has
type in my person index, space bro or rocket bro, a new bro derivative. The way they're talking is only only a certain type of person would be talking like. That's like earlier. It's like the rocket has hit its demise. It's like, dude, it blew up. Like, it exploded. You know, like, they're like, oh, you know, like, anything off nominal. It's like, bro, that talk, like, that's its own bro type. It deserves its own bro type. I really only have 3 bro types right now, maybe more, but I haven't really done any research. Definitely tech bro, but each of the bro types definitely has many, like, many, like, subtypes to it. We got tech bro, which is that's actually maybe the most well-known one. We got crypto bro, which is definitely a type 2. That one is also well-known. And I'm registering space bro or rocket bro. I'm not sure. Is that a drone? Oh, no, space bro or rocket bro. That's a new bro type I'm registering. I need to create a taxonomy tree. Also, bro is definitely it's not just towards dudes or guys. It's also it's you know, agendered in my opinion. Some may disagree, but oh, is this it?
Bay and
So, you know, both genders can appear under a bro type. It's not a type. But there is some that are specific to genders, like the horse girl, for example. The equivalent of a horse dude, in my opinion, is something like a neckbeard. And so maybe there are certain types that are gendered. But arguably a neckbeard is a descendant of a tech bro. Arguably, space bro is also a descendant of tech bro. Crypto bro is 100% a tech bro descendant. Actually, now I'm thinking about it more. I don't know what would be at the top of the hierarchy. Maybe just I had this envision where it's like dude and then bro. So like a dude is like up here, and then it goes down, and then like it branches off, and it eventually gets to bro. It's like bro's like his own little like thing down here. I need to consult. I don't know who the council would be to consult on this one, but I do think of the yard. the yard guys minus Ludwig have done rankings of like the bros and stuff. And they've taken it a step further. It's been very entertaining.
that was cleared ahead of flight. Not controlled, so we're not going to get all of that reentry data that we're still really looking forward to.
I think.
This is kind of a new generation of as
melted and going down.
Improved heat shield, a whole lot of things that we're really trying.
Hopefully they just roll right into Elon Musk talk and we don't have to wait until 6.
Get to kind of the next step that we're hoping for, which is going to be that ship going orbital and eventually coming back here for a catch. So getting through one of these fully is going to be really important. It's not going to be today, but we are just going to stick with the ship, see what else we can learn as it makes its way through the atmosphere and brings an end to the 9th flight test. So we'll stick with it.
Oh, it's still not through the atmosphere? All right. Anyways, yeah, the bro types. that could be its video on its own. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, we're talking about this. Elon Musk's forecasting was dog shit. As usual, no offense. You could say that he's just very optimistic, but there's definitely being an optimist, but also being like pragmatic and like realistic. But this also is what I was saying, where it's like he wanted to like launch it from like other places, so like other ships can come and like land here. But it's just like Earth to Earth. It's not necessarily like planet to planet. They're back.
On-time liftoff from Starbase, Texas at 6:30 p.m. Central Time of the Flight 9 vehicle. We did have some incredibly stressing objectives today. The Super Heavy booster flew for its second flight. It first flew on Flight 9 and made its way to take ship all the way up to stage separation, doing its second flight ever, which is pretty incredible. We did lose the booster on the way back down, as we did fly it back down at a higher angle of attack. So as expected, we did have it demise on the way back down.
Yeah, we were able to get all the way to that land.
Like, we had it demise on the way down. Like, come on. Like,
so a lot of great data that's going to help us improve those future booster flights.
Rocket Bro
yeah, we did do the directional flip, and it worked.
Yep.
It was actually
Flipped
a great
right
view
direction.
that we saw. And then ship continued, 6 healthy Raptor engines in the beginning of its flight, making it all the way to Seco and coasting for quite a while. We made it to the expected time that we would open up the payload door. Unfortunately, the door did not open as we expected it to, so we did not deploy the 8 Starlink satellites.
Yeah, we ran into a couple of issues once ship got there, but I can tell you it was a pretty crazy moment for a lot of the
like, what? I don't like. It's like they
get there.
Have to keep talking, but it's like they don't know what to talk about.
You see, ran into some issues on orbit. We weren't able to deploy the Starlinks.
Also, I do think there would be a difference between Rocket Bro and Space Bro. I think those are actually different, because these guys are like Rocket Bros. Space Bro is like different, because I feel like only Rocket Bros would talk in that like nominal demise.
Still a lot of work to do, but really big moment. Chris, how's everybody doing over there in Hawthorne? What's the vibes, man?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a test program, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn, and that was definitely the vibe and the atmosphere here at Hawthorne. Would have been great to see ship get all the way through its objectives today, but with all of that data that came down through the Starlink system, we're definitely going to learn it, and we're definitely going to fix that and push forward. Also, great to see the responsible engineers here in Mission Control talking with the flight control teams in Starbase. We talked about how it's great having that expert knowledge on console to be able to go to at a moment's notice, and that really helped us make the right decisions in orbit today when we decided to passivate the vehicle. So we will be here looking forward to Flight 10 and some success on future flights.
All right, well, obviously congratulations to everybody that poured so much time, effort into getting this rocket off the pad. The last 2 months have been an absolute gauntlet for a lot of people, and we're continuing to learn more about this ship, about this rocket. We are trying to do something that is impossibly hard, and it's not always you're not going to reach it in a straight line. We said there's going to be bumps, there's going to be turns, but seeing that ship in space today was a hell of a moment for us. So congratulations to every single person who put time, effort, sweat, anything into that rocket.
Yeah, this is exactly the SpaceX way. We're going to learn, iterate, and iterate over and over again until we figure it out. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the fine people of Cameron County, including the resident Starbase, as well as the Coast Guard, Federal Aviation Administration, Government of Mexico, as well as the Australian Space Agency.
All right, now, this is not the end. We're going to have a whole bunch of cool liftoff stuff, so be sure to follow us on X at SpaceX for more, and we will see you back here for Flight 10. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Now let's try and hunt for this talk. Let's try, I don't see anything yet. It says the talk is postponed until after launch tonight. Because, like, man, it's funny. But it doesn't exist. Like, bro, who the fuck? Like, get a life. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, come on. Like, all right. Dang it. I really wish they already had this, like, planned. Gosh. Dang it. All right. It's all right. We're just going to continue. It looks like it is happening from the SpaceX account, though, so continue to watch that. All right, let's finish this. Let's finish a recap. Which one's The Verge? They're a little more trustworthy. Let's watch a recap of his last one with The Verge that hopefully provides some more information. And we'll go from there. I have some other videos we could watch. We'll just chill until then.
What I really want to try to achieve here is to make Mars seem possible. There are really two fundamental paths. One path is we stay on Earth forever, and then there will be some eventual extinction event. The alternative is to become...
It's crazy because I said this the other day. Elon might be making the extinction event himself. Bro, like Grok. AI. And I was like, it would be in his best interest to, in the future, once we have space up and going, to create some AI that would destroy the world, and then everyone flocks to the only spaceship that could take us off Earth, i.e. Starship, and you could just, make a shit ton of money, or, I don't know, use some crazy event, use that event to pump Starship and, like, take everyone off into the Mars colony that he owns 100% of, and that you essentially become a... you go into labor camps to survive on Mars, terraforming. That's a possibility.
A spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species. Why Mars? That they're actually they're remarkably close in a lot of ways. In fact, we now believe that early Mars was a lot like Earth. So we just need to change that bottom row. Because currently...
People. Also crazy that this is even old. We've had a 8 Billy. Also does have similar landmass. Although I see, but it's probably the planet diameter, here we go. Yep, it's much smaller. That's why I was like, it's probably smaller because there's no water, so it's like day length is actually similar too. It's crazy. Thing has a much less gravity, although we could use that to our advantage initially, especially for doing work. Very high, what was that, CO2 in the atmosphere? N2, is that nitrogen? It has a lot of, interesting. Ooh, it's a lot colder, though.
We have 7 billion people on Earth and 0 on Mars. The issue that we have today is that there's no intersection of sets of people who want to go and can afford to go. An optimistic cost number would be about $10 billion a person. And if we can get the cost of moving to Mars to be roughly equivalent to a median house price in the US, which is around $200,000, then I think the probability of establishing a self-sustaining civilization is very high. So it is a bit tricky. We have to figure out how to...
There's other motivations besides people just, like, paying to go. Like, if you're paying that much to go, like, there has to be something cool when you get there. Otherwise, like, you're paying to, it's a one-way ticket. Also, I think that personally, I likely would never get on a rocket unless the success rate is similar to that of airplanes, I'd probably have to wait for that. I'd probably wait for something like that. Like why take the risk? Especially that Earth is like kind of okay for now. Knock on wood.
Improve the cost of trips to Mars by 5 million %. These are the key elements that are needed in order to achieve the 4.5 order of magnitude improvement. With frequent flights,
I missed that. Oh yeah, we already saw
with
that.
frequent flights, you can take something like that, an aircraft that.
And this is kind of. I wish it talked about safety too.
Costs $90 million. If it was single use, you'd have to pay $500,000 per flight. So picking the right propellant is also important. Think of this as maybe there's three main choices. That methane actually was the clear winner. And this is a simulation of the overall system.
We saw this. We watched this.
This is to give you a sense of size.
So big.
So I think at least 100 people per trip is the right order of magnitude, and I think we actually may end up expanding the crew section and ultimately taking more like 200 or more people per flight.
Like how much space? Like what are living conditions like? Packed in there. The trip's like 6 months or something to Mars. Like it's like months. Like the office I'm in is like it'd be packed probably. Like I guess you'd have to live. It'd be like a military deployment. It'd be like living on an aircraft carrier. That's actually probably the best comparison. Which they do it. But it's just like bunks pretty much for your living quarters.
In order to reduce,
and also the fact that I feel like the fact that there's no gravity makes it so like things aren't as compressed, and like I feel like the area feels smaller likely because and you can't just like put bunks in and then sleep there. It's like no, you have to have like certain types of resting areas and with zero gravity. Like the astronauts in the ISS have like these like sleeping bags, but like they kind of like float up and down. Like I feel like there's other problems to be solved besides just making the actual rocket. I wish I guess that's the details, and I value that, so that's what I care about. But I just want to see more so like what like the living conditions are going to be like on the trip over to Mars with 200 people packed in, like literally like a can of sardines, stainless steel and all.
Cost per person. So it's probably somewhere between maybe 40 to 100 years to achieve a fully self-sustaining civilization on Mars. It's made primarily of an advanced carbon fiber, and like I said, this is all designed so that you could actually lose multiple engines even at liftoff or anywhere in flight and continue the mission.
This is still very similar to what Starship is today.
Anywhere in flight and continue the mission safely. The trip time at 6 kilometers per second, departure velocity can be as low as 80 days. Ultimately, I
see. This is an interesting chart. So trip time, year. Trip time in days. This is interesting because a lot of it I think has to do with the orbit. It varies quite a bit. Yeah, because you could see it kind of fluctuating. It starts at 90. So like right now, it's probably going to take like 145 days. 100, And it peaks. It peaks probably around, like this, which is 150 days. And then it kind of goes back down as it like, comes back into orbit. Closer orbit to Earth. But then if this is like fuel, I guess like thrust, delta V, guys, and then payload. The higher the payload, the less thrust. Oh, I see. But obviously, as you use more fuel, you're going to have less payload. Interesting.
Expect you'd see Mars transit times of as little as 30 days in the more distant future. I mean, in order to make it appealing and increase that portion of the Venn diagram where people actually want to go, it's got to be really fun and exciting.
Exactly.
The crew compartment or the occupant compartment is set up so that you can do zero-G games, you can float around, there'll be like movies.
Where's he putting all this? If he wants 100+ people on that thing?
Lecture halls, cabins, a restaurant.
Maybe that's on Mars itself.
It'll be like really fun to go.
You know what it's gonna be like? If I had to guess, it's gonna be like Dubai or some shit. You know, just like rich people's fucking, you know, doing rich people stuff. That's pretty much what it's gonna be. You know, like no one, like, who wants to live in the middle of the desert, which that's what Mars is literally. It's just going to be in the middle of the desert. It's like, who wants to go there? It's like, okay, well, if we make it like this super high-tech future city with all this like cool stuff and like buildings and architecture, like, you know, it'll attract definitely some sort of person that will hopefully help the economy and at least just have people live there if nothing else. And it's very similar to Mars. It's like the same conditions. It's going to be rich people still. You know, it's going to be all the kind of same stuff.
You're gonna have a great time. Really, the key is making this affordable to almost anyone who wants to go. The architecture allows for a cost per ticket of less than $200,000. Maybe as little as $100,000, depending upon how much mass a person takes. So then, what about beyond?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that diagram here. Cost a ton to Mars is less than $140,000. Like, is there think about the economics here? Like, is there enough people that are even going to want to pay to go for this to even be worth it? I feel like this more like consumer space market, it just still is so long. One, it's expensive, and two, like, people just can't even fucking buy shit on Earth right now. So it's like, wow, how could you justify spending, you know, thousands of dollars to go up in space? You know, it's like, and that's clearly why, you know, Virgin, you know, Blue Origin, Virgin Galaxy or Virgin Space, whatever, like, they're all just targeting rich people because those are the only people that can afford the space tourism market. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the tourism market, like, it's, I don't know about that. I really need to rewatch Ad Astra.
$1,000.
Also, like, why is he focusing on Mars before the moon? I feel like maybe he knows that the moon is just gonna be like politicized. Like, it's gonna be more of like military based type of place than Mars. And maybe because Mars is harder, so there's gonna be like less competition. If you're the first mover, you know, you get first mover advantage, just like in, you know, today's economy, but real life, the first mover as in the first one moving the dirt, you know, I'm sure you get a lot of say as to what's gonna happen.
Upon how much mass a person takes. So then what about beyond Mars? So there's obviously the rocket booster, the spaceship, the tanker, and the propellant plant. If you have all of those four elements, you can actually go anywhere in the solar system by planet hopping or moon hopping. But by establishing a propellant depot.
Where else would we want to go, though, in Mars as humans? You know, I feel like past Mars, it's very wishy-washy. Just for the fact of, like, the temperature. We can't really go any closer to the sun, again, for the fact of temperature. And also, like, Venus is just, like, rains acid, so it's like, it's not like we could really do much there. I could see it more for, like, just exploratory purposes.
This system really gives you freedom to go anywhere you want in the greater solar system. This is to give you a sense.
I also think there's something to say, like, there's a lot of time, like, it takes time to go further and further. like only the past few years did Voyager leave, our solar system after being launched in like the 60s, 70s. Like it took 50 plus years or however long. Like is a human gonna want to wait a quarter of their life to get to a planet further away? I don't know. That's unless there's some they're like literally a missionary or something. Like that's, I don't know.
Sense of size.
All right. Still nothing from Elon Musk. I think it's starting at 6. I hope it is. It should be on the SpaceX site, or SpaceX X website. This is another video that's popped up from Pulsar Fusion, Sunbird's nuclear fusion rocket mission to Titan, Mars, and Psyche. Yeah, and they're making fusion engines. And I think the idea is like, the benefit is likely fuel, I'm assuming. Providing both thrust and electrical power for next generation spacecraft, the breakthrough opens unprecedented possibilities to explore the solar system faster and greater payloads than ever before. Pulsar Fusion. I love the logos, the designs. Cool. Yes, this is what I was talking about. Wait, okay, this is actually way more in-depth than I thought. Go back. Looks like this is here. This looks like a very high orbit. By Sunbird. If I had to guess, Sunbird, like... Okay, what if we actually had this, like, in space? When we're, like, not in front of the sun, we could have, like, rockets like this go out with solar panels, capture the sun, and then charge up its battery, then come back, and then disperse that within the within the station, and then it, like, you could if you have like a bunch of those, like you could essentially have power continually coming when you're not in front of the sun, like when you're on the dark side of the moon. I don't know. I guess like maybe you're not going to be back there that long, because I think you could full orbit in like under 20 minutes or something once you're in space. So I think the International Space Station's like every like 19 minutes or something, or they see a sunrise every 19 minutes. To me, that seems like they orbit. It also looks like Starship. This is 100% Starship. Maybe this is refueling. Oh, I see. It's like a tug. It's like a space tug. And I guess this is the engine that they're talking about, with the like fusion engine. And I guess with fusion, wait, I get fusion and fission mixed up. Is fusion the new one? Is yeah. This is the one that's still like emerging. Yeah, hasn't reached power yet. So it's purely speculative. It's science fiction, like the comment said. But I think the idea is that you could have like unlimited energy. But like, I mean, also realistically, again, one, we don't even have one that has produced net power, produced more power than it consumes. And also, they're this fucking big. Look, here's a human right here. Yeah, tokamak. That's like the most like researched. It's like I'm pretty sure a tokamak is like a specific type of reactor. So they want to make that likely like tiny. Mars. Okay. I'm glad we watched this. This is directly related to, it looks like they're using SpaceX, a Starship. And it looks like it took it to Mars like a tug. And then it likely could just use a little bit of fuel it has left to land and then take back off, or land, refuel, or refuel in orbit, etc. And then this thing just flies back. Or this thing this is like a mothership, kind of have this mothership here, and then they come, and then they could refuel, and then they could, like, wait here. I'm sure there's maybe some cycle, and so when that ship needs to go back, then they could just hook back on the tug and then send it back. You don't even need to refuel. I was like, this looks like Jupiter, and that looks like Saturn. This is like an asteroid. This is cool. So it seems like it's all, I mean, I've shared this before, and maybe I'm being too harsh, but like all the speculation is cool, but like you just gotta launch something. You gotta get something off gotta get something off. And if you have nothing, then all right, let's look at this. I've not seen this. I really like the website design's nice. Good, clean. So meet the Sunburn, a marvel of space propulsion innovation powered by Pulsar Fusion state-of-the-art dual direct fusion drive. With its remarkable high specific impulse and 2 megawatts of power. Holy shit. 2 megawatts? We were just talking or watching previously, SpaceX or Elon Musk said that Starship is gonna have like 200 kilowatts. Like this has 100 times that. Sunbird Migratory Transfer Vehicle. I love this naming. Oh my, this naming is so good. Migratory Transfer Vehicle. Way better than the tug, I was saying. Dual direct fusion drive is a compact design of nuclear fission engine. I'm covering it. Whoops. Go back to the usual. Technology opens unprecedented possibilities to explore the solar system in a limited amount of time with a very high payload to propellant masses ratio. Static tests are to begin in 2025, followed by an in-orbit demonstration of the core technology components in 2027. All right, then they're moving. I do wonder if they have a working engine. It looks like they're a UK company too. All right. I'll give old Musky Boy until a little after 6. Check his Twitter account. SpaceX. Nothing still. Bro, come on. I swear if he cancels it. Wonder if we could find, did any of the Rocket Bros specifically, not Space Bros. There is a difference. We have deciphered. Here's NASA's spaceflight here. Okay. Oh, this is nothing there. For the live stream operations they have, like NASA spaceflight, spaceflight now, everyday astronaut, like it's insane that like infrastructure they have. Like they literally have 6 live streams right now. Crazy. It's cool.
Absolutely. Looks like wings. It almost looks like angel wings.
All right, still nothing. Whatever. We'll just keep exploring. Holy shit, bro. This looks crazy. It looks so small, too. I wonder how big it is. It's also crazy that they're like they're going to Jupiter and Saturn before they're going to lunar. The Sunbird, like it says, transporting 1,000 to 2,000 kilograms of commercial cargo. Mars orbit in under 6 months, docking with pre-launch spacecraft in low Earth orbit. Got the power generation from their fusion drive. I do think fusion energy is likely going to be the answer to more efficient rocket engines. I'm just thinking about it now. I'm also thinking about what's the Expanse. That's kind of how they they discover like the faster than light travel, or near faster than light travel with, I can't remember what the drive name was, but that research dude. If we want something that's like getting there, I mean, faster than light travel is like, I don't even know if humans could do that, like theoretically even. But getting, just getting faster and faster, more powerful rocket engines that are more efficient, use less fuel, like we're just gonna need, and we kind of like heard Elon Musk talk about like a lot of the ratios. Like there's a reason like the thing needs to refuel like 10 times is because takes so much to get just all of that rocket, launched into orbit, that it just, we can't build a rocket that's large enough and carries like the weight we need in orbit to even like go to other planets right now with our current systems. So I think as we get more efficient with, and also I think I'm just jumping over it. Specifically, this looks like a vacuum engine. Like this likely won't work on Earth. I actually think that's a big distinction. But I also think that there is another thing to be said. As more things are manufactured in space, I think that will matter less and less. As like, low Earth, or like as like we get more stations manufacturing, especially ships. I mean, I don't, this is all like science fiction kind of, and that's like where I draw a lot of inspiration, but a lot of times like they're like pretty close. We got asteroid mining transport. Like this is literally like a video game. It's so cool, honestly. Deep Space Telescope Ferry. Oh, they remove the migratory. They're calling it a ferry now. I guess ferry, tug. There's a lot of names for it. The UK's leading, so they're just a fusion company. Wait, let's go to these guys. I know it's definitely propulsion. Electric propulsion, alright. Hit 500 watts, so this is tiny. I wonder what the difference is for fusion on a smaller scale than the larger scale. Like, a 5 kilowatt fusion reactor seems pretty valuable still. Like, maybe more than 10 kilowatt, but interesting. Sometimes it's also interesting thinking about that, they made a propulsion engine, and this is what they decided to make the business. They decided to make the business about like ferrying and space logistics. Like that's an interesting, like, I guess, like, is this the most valid? Like, to me, I feel like they should just focus on the actual engines themselves and just sell those. I wouldn't be surprised if that's eventually exactly what happens if these guys do take off. I feel like the engine development and then this, like, space logistics ferry system are, like, just very different. Could be wrong, though. Alright, 6:01. Still nothing.
Experience. They were like, yeah, whatever. And it was like, no, really, here's a take.
Checking out. See, NASA spaceflight has anything? Maybe I should check. Let's check, like, Everyday Astronaut. Also don't want to show their stream on screen here. They could... Everyday Astronaut. I already, like, and I know, like, as soon as I end, it's gonna, like, it's gonna pop up. Oh, he already ended it. I wonder if he got anything. Did he get something that...
May we dream upon days where humans will leave the Earth collectively in large ships exploring our own solar system in ways that only science fiction had dreamt of in the past. May we spread the gospel of love of rockets and think about how loud and flamey they are. Sometimes good flames, sometimes bad flames, but always flames. Always flames. I can't think of any better way to end this stream than that. That's a sleep deprived poem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching our coverage. It really does mean the world to me and the team here and everyone involved that put these together. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys. We physically couldn't be doing this without you. On a ship thing, I'm really happy Booster Reuse was awesome. I'm really happy they mostly made it. From B Stankin, thanks for not being... Our heat shield collection is awesome. Unfortunately, the chance of there still being a presentation after the launch, I guess we'll probably at this point see how Elon's feeling. Maybe a little bit gun shy if there's a lot of work to do. So, but give a shout out to everyone. Shout out to, again, SpaceX for at least getting first booster reuse, first time for Ship 2 to make it through.
So congratulations to every single person who put time.
Okay. He said potentially, but maybe that's not happening. Let's go back to Elon Musk's profile. Come on. I could speculate about space all day though. We could keep brainstorming ideas. I actually do want to spend some time with my girlfriend. All right, we'll wait a few more minutes. If not, then tomorrow we'll do Nvidia earnings. Actually, our Nvidia's pre-market. We'll do Nvidia earnings and we'll watch this. Also, I'm selling my shit. I didn't even think about it. I'm selling my 2x leverage Nvidia shares tomorrow. Should I wait? Actually, fuck it. We're watching this. While we're waiting, like, we're chilling. Shifting gears.
Nvidia shares jumping more than 3% today as the chip giant gets ready to report earnings in less than 24 hours, and there's a lot to watch for in tomorrow.
My plan was to sell those shares, and then I was going to buy actually Rocket Lab, more Rocket Lab stock, because Rocket Lab actually announced, I do own Rocket Lab, so just FYI, Rocket Lab announced that they bought a satellite carrier, they bought a satellite operator in manufacture, and I think that's big because it's diversified. It diversifies them just being a launch service provider, even though they were the full stack. And that's kind of why I enjoyed, like, I like them as a company, and I see them like a future with them, because a company could just go to them, just like, I want a satellite, and they take care of everything from manufacturing it, designing it, to launching it, maintaining it, everything. Like, they're a full service. And I think that will be valuable in the future. For example, SpaceX, you have to go to, a different satellite manufacturer or something, and then you have to then go to, SpaceX, and this satellite manufacturer might handle that. But all they're doing is just like a middleman at that point. And again, like, there's fees and things that come with that. So I like that Rocket Lab could provide the full service and do everything themselves internally. And I think the economics there are a bit better just because you could quote them all up front. Now, I think that also will take longer to make more money. And I think also they can only launch smaller payloads. They're working on a more reusable, like Falcon 9 style rocket, Neutron. But it seems to maybe have some delays. I don't know. Short sellers actually bought it recently too, because they said that they're actually going to be delaying it, which to me, I was like, as a shareholder, like, I'm in it for the long run. Like, if you're a short seller buying a stock that, like, on an emerging technology, like, it just kind of seems like dumb, I guess. Like, yeah, sure, like, it's volatile, like, it's going to go up and down. Like, I don't know. Anyways. I was going to sell my NVDL shares to then buy more Rocket Lab, but I was like, shit, maybe I have it right now scheduled to be sold tomorrow at market open. Maybe I don't.
Mars report, the company warned last month it will take a charge of up to $5.5 billion because of export controls on sending its H20 chip to China. The stock virtually flat this year. So what should we be watching in NVIDIA earnings? A number of analysts on the street have already said that the impact from China and the export restrictions are.
Okay, so Starship made it. Elon Musk tweeted here. Starship made it to the scheduled ship engine cutoff, so big improvement over last flight. Okay, it's weird they said this. You'd think you say it in the speech. This is also our stack thing has great space reporting. But nothing on the actual talk. We'll give it a few more minutes here. But all right, let's watch this, and then if
are not factored into consensus, so there's
then we'll probably just end it.
Some expectation that will be a miss there.
Yeah, I was talking to Gene Munster about this earlier today from Deepwater Asset Management. He'll probably be on the show tomorrow night or sometime this week to talk about it. I mean, this $15 billion in lost sales is probably the big thing that people are focused on, and I think.
Oh, yeah. They had to take a write-off because of the chips they sent to China. But I guess that's known. Like, and also, I feel like the other people would want to buy. They could sell these H20s to other people, to other customers. They just likely not for as much.
That's what you just said. In general, I mean, he did, Jensen, allude to that. But what does it mean for guidance going forward? And I think the knee-jerk could be if you see lower than expected revenue guidance that people will sell, but then you might have them explain it on the call. So it's going to be one of those sorts of tricky calls. The one thing I'll just say is, like, here we are a month after, a few weeks after, all their major customers other than OpenAI and XAI have given their or confirmed their CapEx, and it really wasn't a problem for NVIDIA. People weren't expecting that, greater than expected, or even if it just come in softer, what they were kind of perceiving it might be going forward. So NVIDIA is probably in a perfectly fine spot because they're not going to guide down. We can feel pretty comfortable about that. If there's some concern about whatever that $15 billion in lost sales is, well, that would be the thing that people are going to look past at some point.
Do you think that the China business NVIDIA should be effectively written down to zero?
No.
In other words, will the export restrictions be enough to actually really damage their standing in China?
I think I agree with that guy, because Jensen I'm pretty sure NVIDIA has, like, employees and stuff in China. Like, they have, like, a China branch. Like, I doubt, like, they're just never going to sell to anyone in China. Maybe they are.
They have to cede competition. I mean, in the past 4 years, they've gone from 95% market share to 50% market share in 4 years.
All right, so let me rethink it a little bit. Yeah. So you write it down to zero, then,
what is the value?
Was $90 that write down to zero, or are we here now? So I think, that's fair, and I don't think $135 is the right price. But the CEO, has been speaking seemingly nonstop for the last 3 weeks. So
this guy's eyebrows are like a cartoon character. Like, I'm not the.
Just about anything you want.
Gensanity.
Did you just come up with that?
No. I can't take credit, but I'm the only one using it, so I'm gonna,
No, take it.
I'm the guy right now on Gensanity.
My sense is anything you wanted to glean, you've been able to do over the last couple of weeks. So to me, it comes down to What are they going to talk about in terms
like
of the
they just look like they go like on the inside of his eye, like
back half of this year from margins? They promised they'd reaccelerate. We need to hear that.
Yeah, so you mentioned tariff and export controls. I think drilling into this $15 billion number, I think if it's all taken up front and made very clear that this is essentially a sunken cost, then I think it speaks to the fact that they don't think that there's going to be any wiggle room in terms of tariff and export controls. I think any leniency in that regard lends one to believe that perhaps that they think that this thing might oscillate back and forth. I think ultimately that's a positive for the stock.
Interesting. Okay, let's look at all right, I looked it up already. I just want to know if they're pre-market or aftermarket. After the market closes Wednesday. Okay, then we likely won't cover this until Thursday. I just feel like Nvidia is going to still be making money, especially because they're finally actually rolling out their Blackwell systems in a larger scale, and they've ramped up production more. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they're going to continue to benefit from all the big tech buying them. And I mean, there's no one else that could compete with them yet. Yeah, and then there's China, yeah, the H20, that's what they're talking about. That country now only makes up just 5% of their sales. Like, I actually think it's fine. I think, though, I'm thinking about the last time Nvidia had, like, we were going into earnings and we expected it to pop off, and Nvidia's like, yeah, we're doing good, but, like, everyone just expect them to do really well. And so, like, the stock was just kind of sideways. Like, it was just kind of, even, because it's like, okay, cool, yeah, they did what we want, so I'm just gonna hold it. Like, I don't really care to sell. Or it's not like we're pumping, we're huge, and so like people are buying. Like, it'd be just like what people expect, maybe like a little bit one way or another. I feel like it's fine. Huh. All right, that's gonna do it then for today's stream. No billionaire teaching us how to interplanetary colonialism. That'll have to wait for another day. I guess still enjoyed watching the launch, even though like everything got destroyed and stuff. But yeah, so all right, we'll be back tomorrow 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Pacific. We won't be covering Nvidia earnings until after stream. Or after, Nvidia's won't have the aftermarket, so we likely won't cover Nvidia earnings until Thursday, but we'll definitely look at news and analysts and what everyone's expecting. So yeah, tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, if you want to watch that. Otherwise, we'll see you later.